Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We're going back to September 12, 1946, 76 years ago, for an episode of Meet-Miss-Sherlock, a short-run series starring Sondra Gair as Jane Sherlock and Wilma and the Widow. We thank you for tuning in. On this Monday, this is the 12th day of September, 255th day of the year. We have 110 days remaining till the end of the year. David Atunga's former fiancé turns 40 today. Do you know who that fiancé is? We will tell you that Elizabeth Barrett eloped with Robert Browning on this date in 1846. Screen Actors Guild implemented an anti-communist loyalty oath in 1947. In 1953, Nikita Khrushchev elected first secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Bonanza premiered on this date in 1959. It ran in color. The first regularly scheduled program premiering in color ran from 1959 to 1973, 14 seasons, 431 episodes, the second longest-running Western, right behind Gunsmoke. On this date in 1960, presidential candidate John Kennedy addressed his Catholic religion in front of a group of Protestant ministers in Houston.
Contrary to common newspaper usage, I am not the Catholic candidate for president. I am the Democratic Party's candidate for president.
Kennedy went on to say, quoting, "I believe in America where the separation of church and state is absolute, where no Catholic prelate would tell the president, should he be Catholic, how to act, and no Protestant minister would tell his parishioners for whom to vote, where no church or church school is granted any public funds or political preference, and where no man is denied public office merely because his religion differs from the president who might appoint him or the people who might elect him." Space Shuttle Endeavour launched on this date in 1992, the 50th shuttle mission. May Carol Jemison, the first African-American woman in space on board that mission. Frank Eugene Corder crashed a Cessna 150 into the White House South Lawn, striking the West Wing and killing himself. UN lifting sanctions against Libya on this date in 2003 after that country agreed to accept responsibility and recompense the families of victims in the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. A commuter train engineer ran a red light on this date in 2008 while text messaging on his cell phone and struck a freight train head-on in Los Angeles, killing himself and 24 others. National September 11 Memorial Museum in New York City opened to the public on this date in 2011. And NASA confirmed on this date in 2013, Voyager 1 became the first man-made object to enter interstellar space. Passing away on this date, Hopalong Cassidy, Bill Boyd, Psychos, Anthony Perkins, Raymond Burr passing away on this date. You know him from Perry Mason and Ironside on TV, and you know him here from his role on Fort Laramie. The 7-year Itch star Tom Ewell and the Man in Black Johnny Cash, all passing away on this date in history. This is the birthday of weapons inventor Gatling, the Gatling gun, the first automatic repeating gun. Also journalist author H.L. Mencken, singer-actor Maurice Chevalier, thank heaven for little girls. Also, Jesse Owens, a true American patriot. Would you like to have been there? A black man in Germany and winning Olympic gold and standing up to the Reich? Also, journalist Frank McGee. I loved his work in the reporting of the JFK assassination. He always stayed calm, cool, collected, and did a wonderful job and did not let the emotions get to him. A lot of people had difficulty with that. Also, singer George Jones, born on this date, as was Barry White. From Newhart and Bosom Buddies, you remember Peter Scolari? He passed away last year at the age of 66. And actor Paul Walker, all born on this date in history. Birthday number 82 for Dallas's Linda Gray. Midnight at the Oasis. Send your camel to bed. Maria Muldaur, 79 years old today. From Risky Business, Goonies, and The Sopranos, Joe Pantoliano is 71 today. Actress Rachel Ward is 65 today. Also celebrating birthday number 60 today from Wings, the late, well, not she's not late, but the husband, the widow of John Ritter, Amy Yazbek, 60 years old today. The man who did the William Shatner album Has Been back in 2004 and had a lot of success with his own group, the Ben Folds 5. Ben Folds is 56. Comedian Louis C.K., 55. The winner of the second season of American Idol, Ruben Studdard, 44. And Emmy Rossum from Shameless and Angeline. Emmy Rossum is 36. And we told you about David Otunga, former WWE announcer and wrestler. He was engaged to Jennifer Hudson, the fine actress and singer. The RESPECT, Respect movie about Aretha. 41 years old today is Jennifer Hudson. Those some of the people who celebrate the 12th day of September as their birthday. If this is your birthday.
Hi, we're the four freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you.
And from 76 years ago, September 12th, 1946, Sondra Gair, starring in Meet-Miss-Sherlock, Wilma and the Widow. That's up next on this Monday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. No doubt. This is why so many people are joining MediShare right now. MediShare is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. MediShare can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. And MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that's worked beautifully for 29 years. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow offering the BOGO extravaganza right now on a whole slew of MyPillow products. Now you can find all sorts of great deals on MyPillow bed sheets, Giza Elegance MyPillow, 6-piece towel sets, Roll and Go Anywhere pillows, much more, all priced buy one, get one free. Go to mypillow.com/USA, use promo code USA, or call 1-800-951-8175 and find you some great MyPillow products. They're all available. Oh, by the way, you can also get Mike's book absolutely free with any purchase, but you have to go to mypillow.com/USA or call 1-800-951-8175 and make sure you use the promo code, the buy one, get one extravaganza, going on right now at mypillow.com.
Whether you're taking your pets on the road or a walk around the block, you need to be aware of heat stroke. Hi, I am Dr. Jose Arce, immediate past president of the American Veterinary Medical Association. It's important that pets get out and enjoy the warm weather and fresh air, but here are some reminders to help keep your pets safe in the heat. Tune into the day's forecast to see how hot it will be. Limit exercise on hot days or schedule walks earlier or later on the day when it's cooler. If outside, stay on the grass instead of the hot pavement. Make sure your pet has unlimited fresh water and access to shade. Never leave your pet in a closed vehicle, and leave your pet at home in air conditioning when you go out. If you see signs of heat strokes in your pet, such as excessive panting, drooling, unsteadiness, or abnormal gum and tongue color, call your veterinarian or nearest emergency clinic. For more info on summer pet safety, visit avma.org. That's avma.org.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 76 years, September 12th, 1946. Sondra Gair as Jane Sherlock in Meet-Miss-Sherlock.
Jane.
Yes, Peter?
Now?
Now what, Peter?
Will you marry me now? Tonight?
Oh, Peter, I'm so sorry. I can't tonight. Tonight I have to solve the case of Wilma and the widow.
Oh.
Well, it's about time to meet Miss Sherlock. As smart a little gal as ever stumbled across a real live clue.
No. Please, no, no!
Hello, that you, Peter?
Yes?
This is Jane, Peter.
Hello, darling.
Peter, darling, let's have lunch together today.
Well, certainly, Jane. Where?
I'd like to go to Pierre's. There's so many Frenchmen there.
Frenchman, Jane. I didn't know you preferred Frenchmen.
Oh, no, Peter, I don't, but Beth Ellis does.
Beth Ellis. Is that little screwball coming, too?
Well, certainly, Peter. She's my friend, and besides, she speaks very good French, she says.
Okay, Jane. Pierre's at noon.
Pierre's at noon, and Peter,
Yes, Jane.
will you wear a beret?
Me? We're up a... What on earth for, Jane?
Well, Peter, Beth's never been to a French restaurant, and I'd like to show her a real good time, sort of a French atmosphere all the way. You know what I mean, Peter.
But, Jane,
Oh, you are sweet, Peter, very sweet. See you at noon.
Does Monsieur wear the beret often?
No, Monsieur does not wear the beret often. Monsieur would like a table where no one can see him.
I understand, Monsieur, if you will follow me. Mademoiselle Sherlock is going to join you?
Yes.
Here, I think you will find it comfortable. Perhaps an aperitif before lunch?
A tall, cold, impetuous drink of something, Pierre. Double bourbon and soda. It should be cold and impetuous enough.
Right away. Your drink and telephone, Monsieur.
Telephone? I didn't order any telephone.
A young lady is calling. You're Mademoiselle Sherlock, eh?
Hey, yourself. And bring me another double.
Oui, Monsieur. Un moment.
Hello?
Peter, this is Jane. I'm terribly sorry, darling, but you'll just have to wait a little while for me.
Well, what's keeping you?
I'm tied up for the moment, Peter. You see, I'm shopping for blossoms on Broadway, only I'm not really.
That makes sense. Go on.
Well, you see, I'm really shopping for Wilmer. He came in yesterday. He wants to buy an engagement ring.
Wilmer?
Yes, Wilmer.
Of course.
It's really for the widow, Wilmer's widow.
Oh, Wilmer's widow.
Uh-huh. You see, I'm doing it for you, Peter.
For me? Oh, why, Jane?
Why, you're a client, silly, don't you see? Wilmer's widow.
No, I don't see. And who the heck is Wilmer?
Wilmer is your client, and that's why I'm late.
Look, Jane, I don't know any Wilmers. And if I did, I'd kill him for having a name like that.
How could you know him, Peter? Wilmer's widow is really going to be your client. And you just wait at Pierre's. I'll be there right away, and then you can meet Wilmer, and I'll explain then. Peter. Oh, Peter.
I think I'm still here.
Did you wear it?
Hmm?
Did you wear the beret?
Yes.
Oh, you're so sweet, Peter. I'll be there soon. Goodbye.
Oh, nuts.
Monsieur, I believe this is my table.
Oh. Oh. Huh?
I believe this is my table.
Oh, well, no, I don't think so. Pierre reserved it for me and my friends.
Your friend?
Yes, I'm going to meet my fiancée and her friend here soon. I was just talking to her on the phone.
And your fiancé will be late.
Yes, how did you know?
It is always the way with lovers. I too am waiting for a friend.
Oh, won't you sit down? We can wait together.
Oh, thank you, monsieur. You forgive me, but do you wear the beret always?
Oh, that. No, not always. You see, Jane asked me to wear it today to make this girlfriend of hers feel at home.
Oh?
Give her a little atmosphere.
Monsieur, you haven't yet told me your name.
Well, my name's Peter Blossom. I'm an attorney. What's yours?
I am Yvonne.
Yvonne?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a pretty name. Very pretty name.
Thank you. Life in your country is very disconcerting at times. I am not yet used to it.
Oh, you'll get used to it, I'm certain.
Oh, but you, monsieur, do not seem accustomed to it. You were rather upset when I intruded.
Oh, I was talking to Jane on the telephone. Oh. She gets a little confusing at times. She's with someone named Wilma now. She says he's my client. I don't know what to think.
Wilma?
Yes, I don't know. Oh, there she is now. Jane! Jane! Oh, stay right here. I think you'll like Jane. I'll go meet her.
Peter! Peter!
Right here, Jane.
Wait a minute, Peter. Wilmer's out in front paying the cab.
Come on, Jane. Wilmer can find the table himself.
Peter, I hate to leave.
Come on, Jane. There's someone over at my table I'd like to have you meet. Might help you get here on time the next time we have a date for lunch.
Peter, you did.
Did what?
The beret. I think you look so cute, but that Alice isn't coming. She doesn't know what she's missing.
We won't talk about that. Oh, here we are. Jane, I'd like to have you meet Yvonne.
You mean the potted palm? Or is it you that's potted? I don't see anyone but a potted palm. Peter, have you been...
It's funny. She was here a minute ago. She was sitting right here.
Here comes Wilmer.
Wilmer.
Oh, Peter, don't be cross. I brought you a nice new client. Wilmer's widow is wanted for murder.
Wilmer doesn't look quite dead enough to... Murder? Who? How?
Oh, it's Wilmer's friend, really. She's wanted for murdering her husband. That's Wilmer's widow.
Now, Jane, listen to me. I'm a civil lawyer, not a criminal, and I...
Well, Peter, I never said you were a criminal, but you certainly must be civil to Wilmer.
Oh, Jane.
You, Wilmer, over here. Wilmer, right here. Well, it's this way, Peter. I met Wilmer this morning right after I telephoned you and
Perhaps I'd better explain, Miss Sherlock. I don't think Mr. Blossom quite understands what our connection is.
Please do, Wilmer.
Well, you see, Mr. Blossom, I was... pardon me, but do you wear it all the time?
No.
Peter, Wilmer's only trying to tell you about his widow.
Go on, Wilmer.
Yes. The widow of T.P. Randolph is a special friend of mine, and I'm afraid she's wanted for murder.
Murder?
Yes.
Whose murder?
Mr. Randolph's murder. You see, Peter, they found Mr. Randolph in a car this morning, parked in front of a bar called the Manhole. Someone had shot him, and now they can't find Mrs. Randolph anywhere.
Well, now, isn't that nice?
Oh, no, it's not nice at all. They've been looking everywhere for Mrs. Randolph, and I'm frightened.
Where is she?
Well, I don't really know. You see, the police found her fingerprints all over the steering wheel of the car.
Whose?
Wilmer's widow, Mrs. Randolph. You see, Peter, Mr. Randolph was a very rich man, and Mrs. Randolph would get all his money if he were dead.
Oh, yes, but she really couldn't have anything to do with it. Not for money.
Money, Wilmer, is a very good motive for murder.
Then you think Wilmer's widow is guilty?
Mm-hmm. Very guilty.
But oh, dear, she couldn't be. She's not that kind of a girl. Not Yvonne.
Who?
Why, Yvonne. Yvonne Randolph.
Will you take the case, Peter?
Yvonne. Just a minute, Jane. Wilmer, what does Yvonne look like?
Oh, she's beautiful. I remember the first time I saw her. In a flame-red dress that seemed to set the sparkles in her hair.
French accent?
Why, yes. How did you know?
Never mind. Wilmer, I'll take the case.
That's wonderful of you, Peter.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Blossom.
And when can I meet your widow, Mrs. Randolph?
Oh, I know she'll get in touch with me pretty soon. I handled all of Mr. Randolph's money. Yvonne loves money.
I'm sure she does.
Peter, do you think you can help Wilmer's widow?
Maybe. But, Wilmer, I'll have to surrender her to the district attorney's office as a matter of form, after I've talked to her.
Oh, I understand perfectly. I'll let you know as soon as she shows up.
You can trust Peter, Wilmer.
Oh, I hope so.
Did you say Mr. Randolph was killed in front of the manhole?
It's a bar or something over on the Bowery, Peter.
I must get back to my office now. You'll excuse me.
Of course, Wilmer.
Yes. By the way, Miss Sherlock, when you find that ring we were looking for, will you have this engraved on the inside? Here.
Oh, yes, Wilmer. I'll take care of it. Goodbye.
So long.
Goodbye.
Funny little guy. Yeah, I wonder.
Peter, come on. We've got to get busy.
But I can't do anything until Wilmer finds Mrs. Randolph, Jane.
Oh, yes, we can. We can find a murderer. The Manhole. Isn't that a nice name, Peter?
Oh, sometimes, Jane, I wonder why I let you get...
It's awfully dark for the afternoon in here, Peter.
Yes, isn't it? Might as well go to the bar. Bartenders usually know everything.
A charming afternoon, folks. What'll it be?
Oh, 2 bourbons, Peter?
Oh, that'll be fine.
A very exemplary choice. I'll fetch him forthwith.
Forthwith?
Forthwith. An adverb I love.
Peter, we'll have to ask him what happened this morning.
I took the liberty of bringing you an afterthought of ginger ale.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
Be anything else?
No.
Pardon me, sir. Is the beret a standard part of your costume?
Oh.
The beret.
Oh, the beret. No, I wore it for a friend.
I see. Greater love hath no man.
Now, see here, you
Peter, Peter's sensitive about the beret.
Understandable.
We, are wondering if you were here this morning when they found the body of Mr. Randolph in front.
I not only was here, I found it. I know nothing of the affair, and it's not my fault someone was crass enough to park a corpse in front of my shop. And furthermore, my business is not talking, but selling booze. Another brother?
Oh. Ever hear of a girl named Yvonne?
I repeat, I know nothing. Perhaps I better tend to my wake in the back. Call me if you need.
We didn't get very much information from him, did we, Peter?
Not much.
He just refused to talk. I'll bet he knows something.
I know something.
Oh, who are you?
That is unimportant. You know Yvonne?
Yvonne? I don't know her. Do you know Yvonne?
What is this?
What I do know is this. You want to keep your health, you forget about Yvonne.
Jane Sherlock, what are you doing
Well,
here?
Peter and I just dropped in for a drink, didn't we, Peter?
Yes, that's all.
Hello, Miss Sherlock, Mr. Blossom. What's new? You solving any murders today?
They haven't got any to solve. They're all solved.
What do you mean, Captain Dingle?
Just what I said.
You mean you've already solved the Randolph killing? The one that happened this morning?
All taken care of, Kitty. It's not a thing for you to do.
But that can't be Dingy.
Jane, please don't call me Dingy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who murdered Randolph?
Yvonne Randolph, his wife. She killed him, drove him here, parked the car, and left him.
But are you sure?
Very certain. Her fingerprints were all over the steering wheel. You know, Jane, I had a feeling you and Peter'd be snooping around here. For once, you're too late to butt in. It's all sewed up.
Yep, all sewed up. Not a stitch showing.
Even Tolleson knows.
Right, Chief.
Well, where are you holding Mrs. Randolph?
Well, we haven't had time to find her yet.
Oh, I see.
Well, Captain Dingle, Peter and I were just dropping by. You see, we wanted to get a little information.
Information? What kind of information?
Peter's taken a new case. He's Mrs. Randolph's lawyer.
He's what?
I'm her lawyer.
Oh, you are you?
Gee, Chief, what's going to happen now?
Well, you picked a swell case to switch to criminal law on. You'll never get her off. We got her dead to rights.
The manhole's a very interesting place.
Any place is interesting that has a dead body parked in front of it in the morning.
You know, the most frightening man spoke to Peter and me while we were in there.
Oh, if you mean the bartender, Miss Sherlock, he is a little screwy, isn't he?
Strange is a better
I
word.
don't mean the bartender. There was another man. He was wearing a beret, just like Peter's.
Oh, yes. I meant to ask you about that, Peter. Is it, comfortable?
Dingle, I dislike
It
scenes,
wasn't
but
as cute as Peter's. This man was tall and kind of skinny with a scar on his face.
Hey, Chief, that's...
Shut up, Tolleson.
The summer replacement series Meet-Miss-Sherlock, September 12th, 1946, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll have a look at the news from 76 years ago, but first, these important words.
Ladies and gentlemen, make tomorrow your D-Day. Get an extra bond for defense. Step into any bank or post office and buy yourself a profitable share in America's future. As an investment, bonds are better than ever. They can help you save safely, conveniently, and profitably. So whether you already buy on the payroll savings plan where you work or the bond-a-month plan where you bank, get an extra bond for defense tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, make tomorrow your D-Day. Get an extra bond for defense. Step into any bank or post office and buy yourself a profitable share in America's future. As an investment, bonds are better than ever. They can help you save safely, conveniently, and profitably. So whether you already buy on the payroll savings plan where you work or the bond-a-month plan where you bank, get an extra bond for defense tomorrow.
The word research has become pretty familiar to all of us in the last 10 years or so. But have you ever stopped to think what research, especially medical research, means to you personally? Without research, we would have no penicillin or any of the other wonder drugs. Research is also the most important weapon in the fight against mental illness. And mental illness today afflicts more than 9 million people. Already, research has opened up leads for preventing many mental illnesses, and research has shown us speedier and more effective ways of helping mentally sick people to get well. Research scientists say we can be hopeful, but they need help from us. They need money to carry on research. If we help science, science can give us a much better chance to escape mental illness and to cure mental illness if it should strike. If you'd like to help, give to the Mental Health Fund in care of your local postmaster. Just address Mental Health Fund in care of your local postmaster. Don't wait. This worthwhile cause needs your support now.
Before taking our usual trip to the green room, let's discuss 3 ways we can all help lengthen the war. Here they are. First, throw away all your extra equipment. Second, don't take care of the equipment and ordnance you have left. Third, waste your field rations. Only eat the parts you like. Well, that's only 3 ways. But if each and every man and woman in the service indulged in just those 3 consistently, V-Day would be a far cry indeed. Of course, no one would act like that on purpose, but unfortunately, we all tend to treat GI materiel a little bit like a stepsister. And when you multiply your carelessness and wastage 1 million or more times, it's no longer funny. So let's not help lengthen the war. Let's shorten it by conserving everything we have.
Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater on your favorite station. We're listening to an episode of the summer series Meet-Miss-Sherlock, as it was originally broadcast on Thursday, September 12, 1946, in the newspapers of that Thursday, 76 years ago. These were some of the headlines. A fight to the bitter end was pledged last night by leaders of striking AFL-seamen when the Wage Stabilization Board refused to change its decision, limiting wage gains by AFL men to those obtained by CIO sailors. The Joint Strike Committee of the Seafarers International Union and the Sailors Union of the Pacific sent a telegram to Wage Stabilization Board Chairman W. Willard Wirtz, declaring, "We are fighting this beef to the bitter end and will continue this strike until victory is ours." The union leaders, who earlier had asked national CIO and AFL heads to call a nationwide walkout if the board refused to rescind its previous ruling, made another bid for support by other unions by saying, "Our fight is the fight of all labor, and the SIU-SUP rest confident that the entire labor movement will support us till this beef is won." Meanwhile, all Pacific Coast shipyards as well as ports closed tight today as a result of the Wage Stabilization Board's rejection. Union leaders pledged last night that thousands of striking AFL truck drivers would return to work today as high officials of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters intervened in a strike they called the worst rank-and-file revolt in Teamsters history. International Teamsters President Daniel J. Tobin ordered 10,000 sympathizing strikers in New York and New Jersey, not involved in contract negotiations, to abide by their contracts or, in effect, to get back on the job. Senator Claude Pepper, the Democrat of Florida, last night demanded that the U.S. retrace steps in its foreign policy so as to make the Soviet Union an equal partner with the British Empire in all deliberations. Pepper sounded his demand before 800 cheering delegates to the CIO's United Electric Workers Union's 11th annual convention in Milwaukee. Claiming that this nation has allowed its foreign policy to drift back to the imperialist policy of the McKinley administration, he warned that World War III can be avoided only by modifying our present alliance with Great Britain to include the Soviet Union. Andrei A. Gromyko, Soviet delegate, and Sir Alexander Cardigan, British delegate, clashed briefly but heated last night in the United Nations Security Council over a blunt charge that the British representative had insulted the Red Army. Cardigan replied immediately to the Russian delegate by reading again his reference to the Russian army, which contained no charges against the Russian troops, and then declared, "I have nothing to withdraw." Diamonds galore reported to be available in Brazil for the picking. C.J. Tippett, Civil Aeronautics Administrative Coordinator for South America, who is stationed in Rio de Janeiro, brought back the report that huge new diamond deposits are being found almost daily, and the same for gold. He said the discoveries are resulting from the recent growth in aviation and surveys of unexplored lands. And in Council Bluffs, Iowa, Mr. and Mrs. Oris J. Huber aren't at all happy about their honeymoon. They're spending it in a Council Bluffs hospital, recovering from injuries sustained in an auto accident following the marriage Saturday at the bride's home in Walnut, Iowa. Huber, from Goshen, Indiana, and his wife were on their way to Omaha, where they intended to train for California, when the car in which they were riding skidded and overturned, and they suffered head injuries. And those are some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Thursday, September 12th, 1946. On your radio, Meet Miss Sherlock, the conclusion next. On this Monday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Ad for what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com.
Radio? Why should I advertise on radio? There's nothing to look at, no pictures.
Listen, you can do things on radio you couldn't possibly do on TV.
That'll be the day.
All right, watch this. Okay, people, and now when I give you the cue, I want the 700-foot mountain of whipped cream to roll into Lake Michigan, which has been drained and filled with hot chocolate. Then the Royal Canadian Air Force will fly overhead towing a 10-ton maraschino cherry, which will be dropped into the whipped cream to the cheering of 25,000 extras. All right, cue the mountain. Cue the Air Force. Cue the maraschino cherry. Okay, 25,000 cheering extras. Now, you want to try that on television?
Well...
You see, radio is a very special medium because it stretches the imagination.
Doesn't television stretch the imagination?
Up to 27 inches, yes.
She was born in a humble shack amidst the lemon groves of Goleta, California.
Mommy, don't cry. You know what they say?
When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
I was gonna say life sucks, and then you die. But I like yours better.
And with that, Alexandra Johnson launched her lemonade stand.
Lemonade, nickel a glass.
Every day, even during the frigid California winters, a bone-chilling 72 degrees, you could find her.
You can have it sour, you can have it sweet. Little girl's lemonade will knock you off your feet.
The little girl with the sour brew wanted more, national distribution, franchises, and so she rolled out a well-budgeted advertising campaign.
Me and the rest of the dockworkers only drink little girl lemonade.
She was made president of the International Sour Drink Association and chosen to give the keynote speech at their convention.
You all set with words of wisdom, honey?
You know what they say, Mommy.
Always advertise so consumers think of your product first?
I was gonna say never swallow a lemon seed or a watermelon to go in your tummy.
This fabricated but interesting story is to remind you that it's called advertising and it works.
Put your message on this national advertising platform by emailing classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. On Tuesday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the fictionalized version of the FBI Counter Spy, starring Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer, from 73 years ago, September 13, 1949, Flatbush Fagin. A story about juvenile delinquents who worshipped a really bad kid. Stolen Root is paid for with a wet handkerchief and hard cash. That's coming up on tomorrow's Classic Radio Theater. But now the conclusion of Sondra Gair as Meet-Miss-Sherlock, Jane Sherlock, from September 12th, 1946, 76 years ago today.
Did you say he had a scar on his face?
Yes, the poor fellow must have run into a plate glass window or something in his time.
That was Andre Petitjean.
Who's Andre Petitjean?
Oh, just one of our prize suspects, that's all. Which way did he go?
I don't know. He was in the bar a minute ago.
Get in there, Tollison.
Right, Chief. What's he got to do with this?
Nothing. Only he was a great friend of Mrs. Randolph's and tried to swindle her husband with some phony invention. We think he was in on it.
Well, what makes you think that?
Mrs. Randolph was seen with him 3 or 4 times in the Markham Grill. We found that out. They used to meet there. She only married Randolph for his money.
The Markham Grill?
Yeah. You two might have let our prize suspect get away. We'll find Mrs. Randolph sooner or later, but Andre's clever enough to slip out of town. Why didn't
but,
you...
Chingy, we didn't know he was important.
He was important, and don't call me Dinky.
No inside, Chief. Barkeep doesn't speak very good English. Chief, what's a fortwit?
Well, he's got away. Come on, Tollison, let's get back in there. I'll make this bartender talk if it's the last thing I do.
Come on, Peter, we'll go to it.
No, Jane. Let Dingle take care of that.
But, Peter, they're going to try to find out about Andre Petitjean.
So are we, Jane.
Well, then come on, Peter. Let's go in the manhole.
No. We're going over to Markham's. I've got to protect my client.
Peter, you're going about this case the wrong way. Why did you go to all the trouble of questioning the head waiter at the Markham Grill?
We kept our health, didn't we?
Well, yes,
And we don't know where Andre's. We'll soon know.
Wonder if he found Mrs. Randolph yet.
Mrs. Randolph is the kind of woman you don't just find, Jane.
Huh? What do you mean, Peter?
Blondes like Mrs. Randolph are a rare vintage.
Oh. Wilmer Waldo, public accountant and business affairs. Wonder what that means, Peter.
A high-priced business agent. People like Randolph often use him to handle their money.
Oh?
And this is probably what he did for him. And, Jane, if you need someone to help you handle your money, you have to have a lot of it.
I suppose so, but...
Wilmer's the type.
Yes, isn't he? The type for what, Peter?
Oh.
Do you think maybe Wilmer's hiding Yvonne under his desk?
Wilmer's probably hiding plenty.
Doesn't look like anyone's here, Peter. I wonder what could have happened to Wilmer. He was such a nice little man, he wouldn't...
It's you two.
Yes, Peter and I want to see you, Wilmer.
Hi, Wilmer. What took you so long?
I came as fast as I could. I was in the file.
Right in the drawers?
Jane.
Come in.
You have a nice office, Wilmer. A little bit unlike you.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, red plush leather chairs and chromium lace.
I like nice things.
Of course you do, Wilmer. Where's Yvonne?
I don't know, Mr. Blossom. I haven't seen her yet.
Wilmer, Peter and I haven't got
Let me handle this.
Now, Peter, you...
Look, Wilmer, I don't think you've been telling me all you know.
Oh, Peter, that isn't nice. You shouldn't talk to Wilmer that way.
And why?
Well, can't you see you've upset him? And besides, you're bigger than he is, Peter.
But I have told you all I know. Yvonne Randolph is wanted for her husband's murder.
Look, Wilmer, do you know Andre Petitjean?
Andre Petitjean. No, I don't think so.
He's a Frenchman from France.
Oh.
Yes. He talked to Peter and me today. He seemed to know Mrs. Randolph very well.
He did. He did?
Very well. In fact, so well that when Jane and I went to the manhole to try and get a little information from the bartender, he walked over and told us to forget all about Yvonne.
Oh, dear. That's terrible. It's terrible. I wonder what connection he has with all this.
We're wondering the same thing, Wilmer. Are you sure you don't know Andre Petitjean?
No, I don't think I do.
You said that once before.
Peter.
This has all been very trying.
It's going to be more trying any minute now.
What do you mean?
Wilmer, Peter and I went over to the Markham Grill before we came here.
The Markham? On West 45th Street?
The same.
Oh, I've been there. They serve awfully nice steaks.
Yes, Wilmer.
You were eating dinner rather early, weren't you?
We weren't eating dinner.
Well, my goodness.
We were talking to the head waiter, as a matter of fact.
Alonzo, yes. Oh, he's an awfully nice fellow. I know his mother, too. She's very nice.
Everybody's just fine.
Do you know what Alonzo told us, Wilmer?
No. What?
That he saw you and Andre Petitjean having dinner together there the night before Mr. Randolph was murdered.
Well, so I did.
So you did. Didn't you just tell us you never heard of Andre Petitjean?
Well, I hadn't really. Oh, dear, you're confusing me again.
Peter, be quiet.
Oh, nuts. Petitjean is wanted by the police. Wilmer isn't wanted. Mrs. Randolph is wanted. Wilmer remembers. He doesn't remember. No one knows anything. Who am I?
Well, you're Peter Blossom, and I'm going to marry you.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Oh.
Wilmer, how did you get to know Andre?
I met him at Mr. Randolph's laboratory on 39th Street. He was a very nice chap.
I knew he would be.
Yes. He was a friend of Mr. Randolph's, come to think of it.
He was a friend of Mr. Randolph's?
Uh-huh. He had an invention he was trying to interest Mr. Randolph in. It was something for reclaiming wool.
Did Randolph buy it?
Oh, dear, no. I advised against it.
I see.
Did Randolph usually go by what you said, Wilmer?
Always.
Your memory isn't any good, Wilmer, but I want to know how Andre knew Mr. Randolph.
Well, Andre knew Mrs. Randolph in Europe before she met Mr. Randolph. In Paris, I believe.
And Mr. Randolph married her, and they came to the United States, and then Andre showed up with his invention.
And I told Mr. Randolph not to buy it.
Oh.
I haven't seen Andre since. He was pretty angry.
Naturally.
Well, you see, he and Mrs. Randolph were good friends once, and then Andre came here and looked them up.
And tried to sell Mr. Randolph an invention.
Yes. Mr. Randolph didn't like him. He thought that.
What do you think, Wilma?
That maybe Mrs. Randolph and Andre were beginning to like each other again. Mrs. Randolph was like that.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder the police are looking for Andre. They think he and Mrs. Randolph.
They'll never find him. Miss Sherlock, did you find the ring yet? I want it to be just right.
The ring? Oh, the ring you hired me to buy for you yesterday.
Yes. And don't forget the inscription.
No, I won't. You gave it to me earlier.
Getting married, Wilma?
Yes, as soon as I can.
Who to? What is it, Jane?
Oh, I feel faint, Peter. I feel faint.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Get out of the way, Wilma. I'll take her out in the air. All right, Jane. You weren't a very good actress.
Why, Peter, we found out everything we wanted to know. There wasn't any more.
Oh, Jane. I was just beginning to get some information.
We found out the important thing.
We did? Did we? What?
Where Yvonne is hiding.
Huh? Oh, wait a minute, Jane. How did...
Right here, driver. Wait for us, driver.
Hey, what is this? Where are we?
Come on, Peter.
Now, look, Jane, I don't mind wearing a beret for you. I don't even mind meeting Wilma and getting a client I don't want. But why the alleyway?
Don't you see, Peter? This is that laboratory of Mr. Randolph.
That's just dandy. So what?
Remember, Wilmer said he had the laboratory on 39th Street. This is it.
And what has this to do with Yvonne?
She's hiding here.
Huh?
Yvonne Randolph is hiding here. I just know it.
Oh, Jane, for God's sakes.
Good. The door's not locked.
Jane, will you please tell me what makes you think Yvonne Randolph might be hiding here?
Where else could she hide, Peter? Shh. Don't want to let anyone know we're here.
Jane, where are you?
Right here, Peter.
Oh, I can't see a blasted thing.
Can you find a light switch or something?
Oh, I can't even find myself. For heaven's sake, Jane. We don't wind up in jail for housebreaking or something before this day's up.
Did you hear something?
No, not a thing.
Have you a match?
Yeah, just a minute. Oh, there.
There's a light switch, Peter.
Oh, good.
I'll turn the lights on and...
Jane, what is it?
It's Andre Petitjean.
Oh, and full of bullet holes.
Oh.
He's dead enough to pass coroner's inspection.
Oh, Peter, it's so horrible.
You had a good hunch, darling. But it looks like we found the wrong person.
For Andre.
Well, guess there's nothing to do but phone homicide and let them know about this. Maybe there's a telephone in the other room.
Peter, what is it? Have you found Yvonne?
Yes. You found Yvonne.
You killed Peter? Oh.
No, little one. He is not dead yet.
What do you mean?
It is not quite obvious. A life for a life. That saying is known in every country.
But Peter didn't kill anyone.
What about my Andre? What about him? He is dead, and you and this man killed him.
No, you're wrong. We found him dead. We didn't kill Andre. Really, we didn't.
I loved Andre, and now he is dead. Nothing else
matters.
matters.
Don't shoot, please. We came here to help you. We really did.
Help me? Why?
Well, Peter's your lawyer.
My lawyer? What could a lawyer do for me? I'm wanted for murder. The police are looking for me even now. I never loved my husband, but I did not kill him.
You and Andre tried to swindle him?
Yes.
Who killed him? Wilmer.
Please drop your gun, Yvonne.
You?
Yes, it's me. Drop your gun, Yvonne.
Be careful, Wilmer.
You murderer, you.
Wilmer, a murderer?
Yes, he killed my husband.
I had to, Miss Sherlock. He was in the way.
Oh, Wilmer.
And now I'm going to have to kill you two. Oh, and Mr. Blossom. Too bad. He was so nice.
But why?
I went to all the trouble of killing Mr. Randolph, and then this Andre Petitjean came along. I might have known.
Known what?
I could never love anyone but Andre.
I made the mistake of loving you, Yvonne. And now I'm going to
kill... You killed my Andre.
But, Yvonne, I had to.
You beat!
Oh, Yvonne, don't cry. I'm awfully sorry. See, I'll kill you now, and then you won't feel badly anymore.
Don't do that! Hey, one more to fix it. Not bad, Jane? I learned that in law school.
I didn't know you were so muscular.
You are wonderful, monsieur.
Oh, you. Look what you did to my head.
I am very sorry. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. It was nothing. It was... Oh.
Oh, my goodness. Peter's fainted. Feel better, darling?
Oh, I think so.
Well, it's lucky you came, too. Wilmer was going to start shooting everyone.
Well, all right, Peter. Jane, you've scooped me again. Mrs. Randolph's in the clear, and we're booking Wilma for both murders.
Chief, I don't quite know how all this happened. We were looking for Mrs. Randolph, and then...
Tollison, will you please stick to nothing but holding them once we get them? Let me handle the catching.
Okay, Chief, but I...
Tollison.
Right, Chief.
We were pretty good, huh, Dingle?
You were great. How did you get mixed up with those two, anyway?
You see, Jane and I were going to have lunch together at Pierre's. It's a French restaurant.
Of course.
Only I had to do some errands, and I was late because of Wilmer. I was buying him an engagement
Because
ring.
of Wilma.
Mm-hmm.
Jane, how did you meet Wilma?
Well, it was him I was doing the errands for. And then I hired Peter to be Mrs. Randolph's lawyer.
Chief,
Tollison, please. Go on, Jane.
And I phoned Beth Ellis, and she told me she couldn't make luncheon after all.
Chief, tell me frankly, are you with Miss Sherlock?
Always. Go on, Jane.
So I telephoned Peter, and Captain Dingle, are you sure you're with me?
Jane, I've gone through this so many times. It always comes out sooner or later.
Well, Peter and I called on Wilmer at his office, and Wilmer told us about the laboratory. And then I remembered what Wilmer wanted inscribed on his engagement ring.
Go on.
And I told Peter I had a headache.
Go on, Jane.
And then we found Yvonne.
Oh, that does it. Please now, Jane, please, will you try to make some sense? Please, just this once.
Yvonne thought we killed Andre, but we didn't. Wilmer killed him. Right after we saw Andre this morning at the manhole, and
Jane, just a minute. How did we actually get tangled up in all this?
A $64 question.
Don't you see?
See what?
Yeah, Miss Sherlock, I don't think...
You never did.
Right, Chief.
Well, Dingy,
And don't call me Dingy.
I thought I told you. The ring was going to be inscribed from W to Y.
So what, Jane?
Well, Wilmer wanted to marry Yvonne. He ordered an engagement ring for her yesterday before Mrs. Randolph was a widow.
Oh, Jane, it's so good to sit down.
Does your head still hurt, Peter?
Not when you rub it that way, Jane.
I feel kind of sorry for Wilmer.
You have the oddest sense of sympathy,
He
Jane.
killed everybody to marry Yvonne, and then...
And it didn't work.
Peter!
Yes, darling.
Come on, we've got to get started.
It started. For where, Jane?
Pierre's. We're meeting Beth Ellis for a midnight dinner.
Oh, no, Jane, not
we
that.
are, Peter. She's expecting us.
Oh.
And Peter,
Yes, Jane.
wear your beret. Beth will love it, please.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, it's that way all the time with Jane and Peter, especially Peter. How would you like to wear a beret? Well, next week, Jane doesn't make Peter wear a beret, but they do get involved with a big game hunter who says he's being hunted, in the case of the pink elephant. So be with us next week at this same time when you meet Miss Sherlock.
The summer series Meet-Miss-Sherlock, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox from 76 years ago today, September 12th, 1946. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Would you do me a favor and thank this radio station and support their advertisers? Radio stations are under such pressure, especially with government now wanting to increase the taxes and the fees that they have to pay to the federal government. So, these are taxes that we were told were not going to be as severe as they are. So, would you do me a favor? Support this station and do business with them as you can. Would you please? Greatly appreciate it. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be here with you. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. You can go to classicradio.stream, stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can find links to download sites where you can download our shows. You can also find our social media links there, and you can also buy me a coffee. If you like what we do, we're using that buy me a coffee money to purchase additional classic radio collections for us to bring to you on your favorite radio station. That webpage again is classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream. Have yourself a great Monday. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.